And then if you want to turn your camera off, you can. So that it's just this.
Okay. So,
But if you want to be seen like, do you want to be like seen face on? I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, so then we can just have both on and then.
Can you have it over here so that it can
Yeah.
his face? Yeah, and we can see you that while you're presenting.
Okay. Let me see.
And then I can turn this camera off. So that is just you.
Right. So let me see. How can I manage this? I need to see this, right?
Yeah, so. That's the worst.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. You good?
I think that should work. Maybe we can turn off this then.
Okay.
Should we? Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
or maybe we have this on. Yeah. This off. Maybe have this on. Oh, no, no.
Isn't that hilarious? Yeah. When you turn that.
Okay.
Do you want?
Yeah. Have this is fine. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem. If you want, if you need anything else, you can just call this number.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, y'all. This is gonna have to be squeezing things in. I'm just gonna close it just in case it gets loud there. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Sujin Lee. I'm one of the volunteers for MoDev today, and it looks like a very intimate gathering, which is perfect. So I wanted to introduce our speaker for the breakout room. Today, it's Ken Huang, and he is co-chair of the World Digital Technology Academy, and he does a bunch of other things too. And today's session title is Developing a GenAI Application Security Testing and Validation Standard. So why don't we welcome him with an applause.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, everyone, for attending this meeting. So, yeah, a little bit about myself. Sue already introduced me, but I think some of the books that I wrote in the past few years is quite relevant to the subject that we have. One is Generative AI Security by Springer. Another one is a practical guide for AI engineer, and then Beyond AI. All these three books talk about the security in either one chapter, or the first book, all the chapters about security. So it's 365 pages all about security. So if you're interested in security with AI, especially generative AI, all the three books has different perspective. But the second book is more for AI engineer. If you want to develop your own application, you need this second book. The third book is more from the business perspective. If you're trying to develop the groundbreaking next generation GenAI applications, that give you some idea, especially integrate with Web3. So I volunteer at a different organization, including World Digital Technology Academy, Cloud Security Alliance, OWASP Top 10 for LLM applications. I'm one of the co-authors. So yeah, it's really good to see you all here, also through the Zoom. Let's talk a little bit about the World Digital Technology Academy. It's started about a year ago. It operated under the UN framework. The key idea is trying to have the speed, safety, and the sharing as its philosophy, meaning that you always need to innovate at the speed of the AI, but to share with the common humanity, because under the UN, right? but safety is important. It's also open source, inclusive. So this is the key idea of this. Within the WDTA, it has the AI staff with the safety, trust, and the responsibility working group that I co-chair. We develop the open standards. It's all free, open, people can download. These are two standards we have, most relevant to today's talk. The first one is generative AI application security testing. That's what I'm talking about today. And another is more on the frontier model testing that we don't have time to talk, but it's all you can download. So before we actually dive into it, let's kind of have a high-level overview of GenAI landscape, right? So when we see it, it's you can see the prompt injection everyone is talking about. There is direct prompt injection and the indirect prompt injection. Direct prompt injection is basically the hacker use the injected, kind of like a SQL injection. It's mixed the malicious prompt with a good prompt and trying to solicit the response, which is not good. Like it can reveal some secret, right, from LLM. Indirect prompt injection is more like it's the hack is as a third party. It's embedded into email or website, and then the user can, when they interact with the chatbot or generative AI applications, the prompt will be injected as a third-party source, right? And the jailbreak, it's different. It's also similar, but different with the prompt injection. Jailbreak is more like a systematically break the large language model. And the prompt injection is more like a session-based. After one session, if you want to do another one, you have to use the same prompt, or you have to craft another one. Jailbreak is once it's break, it's open, like you can use it, right? So there's some slight difference. Industrially is argue there is similarity and the difference. It's not really set in stone yet. That's my definition. I posted in LinkedIn about that. Data leakage in prompt. It's more like if that's the reason why majority of enterprise they don't want you to using public chatbot, because you may put your company's enterprise private data, right, or use personal private data into the prompt, and then it goes through the public chatbot, and that could potentially be a problem. Although, like OpenAI said, they will only retain your data for 30 days. They will not use your data for training. And you can even ask, like, no retain. You should not retain any data. You can ask. They give you exception also, right? And sometimes you will see the misinformation, hateful speech. It's called the risk content, right? And the AI regulation could potentially impact your GenAI application as well. Yeah, maybe you know that EU AI Act has prohibited use of AI, meaning that if you want to social score your citizen, that's prohibited. You cannot use AI to social scoring. You cannot use AI for doing the public face recognition. You cannot. The only exception is that law enforcement, as in some special situation, if they get the approval from the court, they can do the facial recognition for some criminals. But that's a extreme use, right? So the EU AI regulation is basically have different level of the AI applications, from the prohibited use, high risk kind of like if you're using for HR, for the hiring, right? That's high risk. For the health, it's a critical infrastructure. For the banking, that's high risk. Then you have the medium risk and the low risk. But the majority case, I think it's the high risk. So you need to meet the regulation as well. And the attack surface is expanded, right, from the traditional web application, right? So that's not just generative AI or the machine learning application. You have the training data, you have the prompt, which you interact with the model, you get the response back, can be manipulated, and the prompt integration, especially with the agentic behavior. Currently, the agent is in the race, right? I just recently signed a book contract actually with Springer to develop a book on the agent. So just we'll be working hard on this one. And then you have the plugins and orchestration and the model itself. So those are where is a new attack. This is the attack surface. And how you do this, you can go through the GenAI applications, you can compromise the identity, you can basically the endpoint is your generative AI application, including the inference point. If you host your model, that's the endpoint. People can attack as a hacker, right? And the data, they can poison the data, and the cloud, the misconfiguration of GPU cloud, right, could potentially have the issues. There's example just in Black Hat these 2 days. Wiz is a cloud security company, just have a use case, said SAP AI cloud, they can hack into it because to use the Kubernetes, and Kubernetes has a control plane and a data plane. It's really hard to isolate it. So the configuration of the control plane eventually was able to talk to the data plane, and the Wiz, as the white hacker, was able to bypass its strict control in terms of network traffic. It can go through it and then escalate the privilege and get all the private information from it. Although it's not public, but they work with SAP to fix it. Then they put out a case study in Black Hat. So I think you will see it from the Black Hat conference once they become available. Usually they will make it available after the meeting. So now let's get into the real meat of this one. So this is the standard that you can download. I have the download link. I can share if you're interested. Connect me through LinkedIn. I can share this to you. I will promise not to go all the detail into it. It's around like 60 pages. It's a lot. It's like if we really want to go through it, it may be a few hours. So I will just give a high level overview of what is inside. The key thing is the key idea we have is we do have the model, this frontier model, OpenAI, Claude, Anthropic, Meta, they are working on, they test it really good. Although we do have the standard for that, but the majority of us, we basically have to develop this application, leverage this frontier model. Even frontier model is not evolving, the reasoning capability and some of emerging capability it has can already build a lot of good applications. And that will be maybe coming even more like next year, right? So also it is also continue evolving. So we need to focus on developing the GenAI applications, leverages the frontier model or even open source model, right? Some bigger Mistral is one, right? Llama is one, right? So you can leverage this and to build application, but what is security? And security is not just the chatbot interface, not right. It has to be all. So we have basically talk about the layers, the whole application stack that you need to test. And this document is talking for each of this point. So let me actually get into it. First is the base model, right? Selection. You select which model, right? You select OpenAI. Sure, it's good. And if you select the OpenAI, you don't need to be like worried yourself in terms of the model safety, like if it's putting into the trust execution environment or not, right? That's a shared responsibility. So that's OpenAI has to worry about. But for you, it's more worry about is what the data source is coming from, right? Is it where it like if I build some application that is prohibited from using some of the data, then we cannot, right? And also you need to look at the model card. Now like Hugging Face has a model card, OpenAI has a model card, and also data card. You can take a look at their card to see if they have any compliance in terms of legal, regulatory, and ethical standards, right? And also model does have this supply chain risk, right? That's even the Biden's executive order talking about that, the supply chain risk. So another way is for you to, especially if you use the open source model, if you host your own model, you do need to make sure the model is hosted in a safe environment, and also you can test. So I put some example of evaluation data set, right? Some people curate 122 data set that you can use, test the model. So if you develop, especially if you use an open source model, you want to develop your own GenAI applications or chatbot, in most cases, you can use this, right, as a data set to test it. Vector database, I think if you're coming here, you must know vector database. The idea of a vector database is you have the most recent factual data embedded in the vector database. So it once if you're using the larger language model, it can provide some factual data, most recent data to the larger language model, so it can reduce the hallucination, right? But you know, the model itself, especially the transformer-based architecture, hallucinate, right? So if you want to reduce it, you're using vector database. The problem with the vector database is it's hard to do the authentication and also access control. So people usually when they do, we also consult with the banking and also educational sector, they really grasp with this issue. Like I do need all this data in one place, but even before the vector database, our access control is mixed up already, right? So we don't know if everyone has the right least privilege access or they know too much, right? So now, like if we put everything into the vector database, which is good for the your application to get insight, right? To find the needle in the haystack, so it's which is good, but it's also violates access control. So that's something I think the GenAI application especially has the issue with, right? And also it's very hard to encrypt the vector database because vector database using similarity search. You cannot using column-based encryption, which is common in relational database, and then it's easy, right? With the vector database, if you encrypt the whole database, right? Because similarity search. So then you have to decrypt all vector database in order for you to do the search. That's really time consuming, it's slow. So that's also, there is some companies that we talk with, Chroma is one example. They try to encrypt the whole database and provide some of the solution for that.
Ken, I just wanna let you know, we're about 2 minutes over. I don't know when the next group is coming in for the breakdown. Do you wanna like wrap up and ask for questions maybe?
Yeah, I will quickly go through it and then go through. Thank you for the reminder. So the prompt, especially retrieve augmented generation, I think you know, it has like, you have to check for the relevance and in terms of context relevance and answer relevance. And then the influence endpoint, you have to make sure the API is managed, you have the secure caching, and you have the reverse validation. Agent behavior is really important. And currently everyone is talking about agent, but what about security, right? And that's why we actually talk about very detailed, how do you test the agent? And then if you really want to do fine tuning, usually you don't want to do fine tuning. If you really want to do, you have to check it, right? That is some checklist I have here. And then always do the response handling. Everything back from the large language model, even you're using the true augmented generation, the response you cannot trust. So you have to do the ground in the factor checking, you have to do relevance checking. We document all this. I cannot really go really deep into it because of timing, but I just listed. And then you have the runtime security, right? And you have the, especially like current NVIDIA. NVIDIA has a trusted execution environment that you can hold the data into it, right? So that is a potential. Anyway, we do have like certification of registration if you go past the test with us, and we actually collaborate with like SGS, PwC in Asian region, right? Doing the work. So that's there is a possibility that the 8 layer we're talking about, we can only certify 1 layer for you. It's possibility, but the key thing is we trying to certify all 8 layers we are talking about, right? So that's the thing. That's conclusion, and you can connect me through LinkedIn. That's it. So, any questions? Maybe take one question or two. Do you have questions? Good. Any questions?
Good. I did not know it was a UN program, so I guess I'm unaware.
Okay, cool. So do you have? Yeah.
So if you wanna look at your presentation, where can I find it or?
Oh yeah, I can send you you can connect me through LinkedIn. Just
Okay.
Ken Wong AI. Google search it. You can find me. Yeah. So you can connect me there.
Do you wanna flip back to the other slide so people can maybe?
Oh yeah,
see
this
your
one.
hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Ken Wong US is my LinkedIn. You can connect me. Yeah. Well, I think you are the next speaker, right?
No.
Oh no. Okay. So if
Yes,
there's no next.
Thank you so much. I wanna let y'all
Yeah.
know, they inserted a 10-minute networking coffee break upstairs that started a few minutes ago, so if you wanna hop back up to the 5th floor, you're welcome to, and then we're gonna have our next session here.
Yeah.
So thank you. Round of applause for
Oh,
Ken
thank you,
Wong.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Nice,
very
yeah.
much.
Next.